Welcome to Young Asia Television.
Presented by the National Science Foundation of Sri Lanka.
Energy is an essential part of our lives. We need energy in practically everything we do in life, and we need lots of it. One of the primary sources of energy comes from fossil fuels. Have you heard of renewable energy? A renewable resource or green energy is something that can be replenished and replaced over a period of time without causing harm to the environment. On today's program, we discuss renewable energy and its importance to us. Stay tuned to Mihimanala.
නිල්පැහැයෙන් හැඩවූ එකමලුවක් ඇත්තේ ගහකොළ මල් සුසැදී පනනල ඇත සුරැකී ජීවිතයේ විදුනැන අත්කරගත යුත්තේ අවනි පැයුම් බිහිවිය යුත්තේ සොබාදහම් සුරැකිය යුත්තේ අප සම නිරෝගී විය යුත්තේ ජීවිතයේ මේ සියලු රහස් ගැන දැනුවත් විය යුත්තේ විද්‍යාවෙන් තේරුම්ගෙන ලෝකය ජීවත් විය යුත්තේ
Mihimanala.
Most renewable forms of energy, other than tidal and geothermal, comes from the sun, the ultimate source of energy for our planet. The advantages of harnessing solar energy is that it's clean, free, inexhaustible, and efficient.
The main and primary renewable energy source is the sun. Every day we get sunlight and sun rays, so we get the heat. So the general basic form of renewable energy is light and heat, which is coming from the sun. And then this particular energy source then transforms into different forms of energy. Let's take the example of wind. Wind is created mainly due to two different temperatures in the atmosphere, which is due to the availability of sunshine. So wind is another source of renewable energy. And what other sources are? We can consider the plants, the biomass. When we have the sunlight only, the trees grow. So then you can get leaves, you can get wood out of it, which stores energy, which was originated from the sun, and we are utilizing when we require that. So biomass is another form of renewable energy, and we have different types of different other energy sources like hydropower, which is linked with the water cycle, so which lifts the water from the lower potential area to a higher potential, and then we can utilize that. Likewise, in the sea, there are a number of renewable energy sources as well, such as wave. Wave is generated due to wind, so it's a renewable energy source. And there's another technology called ocean thermal energy conversion, which uses the temperature difference at two levels of the ocean. So we can tap that and get energy. So there are a number of renewable energy sources in the world. In addition to considering the primary energy source sun, there's another category which we called geothermal energy, where we tap the energy inside the earth, which is very hot, from which in certain areas we are in a position to tap that source and utilize it. We consider this as a renewable energy, so it's not renewable because it has huge potential, so we consider this as a renewable energy.
According to the above, renewable energy sources can be summarized as follows. Light and heat are derived from solar energy. Wind power can be derived from the land and sea. Bioenergy can be obtained from wood, biogas and biofuel. Hydropower can be generated from water sources. Marine energy or ocean energy consists of wave energy, tidal power, ocean currents and ocean thermal energy. Geothermal energy can be harnessed using the heat deep inside the earth. There is a great deal of enthusiasm today about the development and increased production of our global energy needs using alternative energy sources. What is the reason behind this interest to develop new forms of energy production? Let's find out.
Modern day man is mainly relying on not renewable energy but on fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means coal, oil and gas, and these are not renewable energy technologies. Why we say so? There is a certain quantity of coal, gas and oil underneath the surface which is stored, which happened about millions and millions years ago. True, it's the same sunlight, solar energy. However, for millions of years it was trapped inside the earth. That's why we are able to get it at a more efficient level for the benefit of the mankind. Now we are faced with scarcity of resources issue. Oil and gas at the current growth rate, we won't be able to get oil and gas for more than 30 years. And coal, it is adequate only for about 40 years. Fossil fuels, which is limited resource, if we are tapping at current rates, we won't be able to utilize for more than 40 years. So, because of that reason, we need to explore the renewable energy potential and tap those resources for the sustainability of the humankind. The second issue is there's an issue of climate change. There, due to environmental constraints, when we burn fossil fuels, we emit more and more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which leads to global warming. So, if we are to mitigate this, we need to shift away from fossil fuels to other renewable energy sources so that we can stop burning fossil fuels. The issue is at present the quantities we have identified, mainly coal, we won't be able to utilize that, burn that. If we do so, then the temperature of the atmosphere will be increased above 2 degrees centigrade, which leads to number of other issues. So, due to this constraint, the environmentalists say that we need to keep coal about 3/4 of non-coal reserves underneath the surface if we are to limit the global warming to 2 degrees. So, these are the two main reasons why we need to move away from fossil fuels to renewable energy. Locally, we have another issue. As we do not have proven fossil fuel reserves, we need to import them. Because of that reason, we have energy security issue and exchange earnings related issue. So, because of that reason, we need to explore more and more renewable energy technologies, because we have enough sunshine, we have year-round sunshine. So, we are blessed with renewable energy. So, because of that reason, for indigenous nature of source, we have another reason for us to move towards renewable energy.
Fossil fuels are the major energy sources. But when overconsumption happens, it can lead to air pollution and global warming. Therefore, it is imperative that the world shifts to renewable energy, which can power the future. However, the world demands a large amount of energy. Can we find alternative renewable energy sources to meet this demand?
We are at present mainly relying on fossil fuels, but if we are to shift from fossil fuels to renewable energy, we have adequate quantities, there is no issue. When we consider the solar energy we get from the sun, it is adequate for us to generate 3,000 times of the present demand. And the other forms of energy, we have adequate quantities, biomass, wind, ocean energy, all those things are there for us to tap and get.
Using modern technology available to them, already many developed countries have been able to switch to using renewable energy resources to meet their day-to-day energy needs. This energy is efficient and also environment friendly.
Although it is said that renewable energy can meet the energy demands of the world in the near future, can Sri Lanka meet its own energy demands with the resources available within this country?
Locally, if we consider, we are a tropical country closer to the equator, so we have the year-round sunshine. There's no issue of having solar energy, the prime energy source. We can satisfy our electricity demand by just tapping the solar energy radiation. We get 30,000 hectares, which is negligible when we compared with, we have 6.5 million land area, so out of which only 0.5% of that land is adequate for us to tap and get enough solar energy, which is negligible when we compared with, we have 6.5 million land area, so out of which only 0.5% of that land is adequate for us to tap and get enough solar energy. And when we consider the other renewable energy sources such as wind, we have about 45,000 megawatts, which is much more than what we need right now. But our present requirement is about 2,000 megawatts. Likewise, we have enough biomass, we have enough ocean energy. The limiting renewable energy source is only hydropower, because we have already tapped almost all major hydro potential. So we have come to a limitation on that front. However, the other renewable energy technologies are widely available for us to generate and satisfy our own.
It must be clear to you by now just how important it is that the world shifts to renewable energy to meet their energy demands. But for some countries like ours, much of our energy needs are met by coal, fossil fuels and natural gases. There are a great number of benefits that can be gained by tapping into renewable energy resources. Let's see how Sri Lanka can benefit if all our energy requirements were met in this manner.
Advantages Sri Lanka can gain by using renewable energy: can be generated from natural resources, is sustainable, guaranteed energy security, is environmentally friendly, production of less energy waste, saving of foreign revenue, boosts economic development, creates local job opportunities.
When there are advantages to be gained, there are disadvantages to be dealt with. This is a universal fact relating to everything in life. The same is true for renewable energy.
What are the disadvantages of renewable energy? When you compare fossil fuels against renewable energy, we are all aware that even in Sri Lanka and worldwide, we are mainly relying on fossil fuels, mainly due to certain disadvantages we have with renewable energy. What are those disadvantages? Renewable energy is scattered, it's distributed. Unlike coal, from a particular coal mine we can grab it, but renewable energy is scattered, so we need to tap wherever it is. So that's a disadvantage we have, similar to when we are comparing with fossil fuels. The other reason is we need to use them when it is there. Let's consider the case of solar power. During the daytime we have enough sunshine, but we need energy during the night. So for that purpose, we have an issue of using solar power. So we need to discuss how we can store and the cost behind storage. Similarly, wind, when it's there, we have to tap, but our requirement, our demand is during some other period. So we need to store, that's an issue. Similarly, we need to explore the possibilities of storage if we have to consider the renewable energy source as a dispatchable renewable energy or energy source. The main disadvantages of renewable energy is on the capital investment side, because when we compare a renewable energy power plant against a fossil fuel power plant, the capital cost is much higher in the renewable energy technologies. Mainly, we need to have large, let's say for hydro we need to have a reservoir and a power plant, and wind we need to have wind turbines at appropriate locations, which is very difficult to reach, and solar we need to have solar panels, we need to import that. So, the capital investment side there is an issue. So, unless we address that issue, we won't be able to make it renewable energy mainstream. So, those are the main disadvantages of renewable energy.
Today, there is a healthy competition among companies to introduce various innovative renewable energy products to the marketplace. Despite the high costs involved, the demand for such products is high due to the perceived benefits to be had in the long term.
If energy security has to be guaranteed for the future, sustainable solutions have to be found. For instance, bringing down the capital cost incurred in transitioning to sustainable energy. Energy scientists around the world and in Sri Lanka are working towards finding solutions to this problem.
We need to tackle the issue of upfront capital cost. We need to have a mechanism in order to compete renewables with fossil fuels. We need to have a reduced initial capital cost, and if we can repay the capital cost during the lifetime of a power plant or a equipment we use to generate power and energy from renewable energy, that's the main answer to the question. How we can do it? We are aware our upfront cost is high, but if you can get a long-term lending which can be repaid during a longer period, then from the day one onwards we don't need to pay a higher price for renewable energy. So, it's the duty of the government to make sure that there are long-term lending, concessional lending available for renewable energy. Unfortunately, in Sri Lanka, it's the other way around it's happening. We have long-term concessional lending for fossil fuels, but we do not have concessional lending for renewable energy. Renewable energy is mainly established by the private sector at commercial rates. So, it's not a level playing field. So, in order to make renewable energy mainstream, we need to have long-term lending. It is the duty of the government to make sure that such long-term lending is available and at concession rate. On the other hand, worldwide, there are green funds available to encourage the people to move from fossil fuels to the renewable energy. So, these green funding arrangements, we can easily tap, which are giving at below commercial rates, concessionary lending. So, utilizing that, we can get the benefit out of the renewable energy. In order to do it, government should take the initiative and make it happen. And further, there are other mechanisms such as carbon trading, for which they will pay us for utilizing renewable energy. It's an income stream for us. So, there are such mechanisms worldwide available. We need to tap all those things and make renewable energy competitive with fossil fuels from the day one. So, we can do that. On top of that, we need to address the issue of availability. We are considering this renewable energy as non-dispatchable, meaning that we have to utilize when it is there, but our demand is at some other time. So, we need to have a storage system. So, for hydro, we have hydro reservoirs. For biomass, we can store definitely, but for wind and solar, we need to go for storage. How we can store? the normal way of storing is battery banks. But we are aware it's expensive and we need to dispose batteries in every 4-5 years. Then there's an environmental issue as well. So we need to go for other alternatives. Worldwide, the storage mechanism mainly utilized for storing solar and wind are pumped water storage. What we do here, we pump water from a lower pond to a higher pond when the renewable energy resource is available, let us say solar during the daytime, and during the night when our demand is there, we release water from the upper pond, and utilizing the same pump we can generate power and utilize it for the benefit of the people. So, it is a storage mechanism. So, we need to establish such storage power plants in Sri Lanka. There were preliminary studies done. They have recognized pumped water storage power plant potential as 3000 megawatts. So, in certain located areas, we can have pumped water storage facilities and store the renewable energy which are intermittent in nature. So, for that government should take necessary steps to ensure that in the long run we have storage facilities to store renewable energy. So, those are the two main areas where government can intervene and make it happen. And practically there are other benefits, indirect benefits that goes to the other sectors, like if we are addressing certain issues of environmental pollution while using fossil fuel vehicles, we will get an indirect benefit by shifting to renewable energy. There, if that particular health sector can pay for the benefit they get, then we can provide energy at a lower cost to the consumers. So, likewise, if we have an integrated program, we can get many benefits out of it. If you consider biomass, if the rural farmers grow wood and get an earning by selling wood, it's an indirect way of not going for another development work which generate income. So, people will grow wood. So, that investment, if we are generating income opportunities for them, employment opportunities for them. So, if instead of going for another development work, the government can take initiatives of establishing renewable energy power plants and thereby strengthen the process. So, considering the indirect benefits we get, if you internalize that, then we can give renewable energy at a lower cost to the end user.
As research continues to develop next generation renewable energy technologies that are easy to use and less costly, the future looks promising. It can be safely forecast that Sri Lanka will be meeting its future energy demands using renewable energy resources. Imagine that. Thanks for watching this episode of Mihimandala.
ජීවිතයේ මේ සියලු රහස් ගැන දැනුවත් විය යුත්තේ විද්‍යාවෙන් තේරුම්ගෙන ලෝකය ජීවත් විය යුත්තේ